Hello, good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning. Yes, you are.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and wishing everyone happy New Year, happy, healthy, and prosperous 2021, and welcoming everyone on this first PM forum of 2021. We are about to start our session, and let me introduce our speaker for the day, Mr. Amit Khanna. It seems a lot of people know him already in PMI Mumbai chapter, as he has been conducting a lot of sessions at our both centers, MSTIC, that is Vile Pale Center, and SIS. So again, we are going to hear from him today about this wonderful topic. And let me introduce him that he is professionally a project manager and agile coach and holds a master's degree in project management. And with more than 16 years of data warehousing experience, he feels blessed to work with incredible teams on varied business and technical projects in global companies. He has finished several certifications, including PMP, PMI ACP, Agile certifications, till Agile Coach, and SAFE against Agilist SA. Amit has won several awards within Teradata and was nominated for Volvo Technology and Innovation Award in 2018. He is volunteer with PMI Mumbai chapter since 2015, and he has presented in many sessions, as I mentioned, at NMIMS and SIS Nehru. And we are having opportunity to hear him again on this session of storytelling. So handing over to Mr. Amit Khanna. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ketanji. All right, so welcome to storytelling session. People might wonder, storytelling, what is it related to the PMI world side of the world, right? After having several sessions on different topics that I give, may I request all of you to be on mute so that it's easier for people who are on mute and they want to listen. So storytelling, let me restart it again. Thank you for being on mute. And yeah, so as I was saying that, I gave several sessions in PMI Mumbai chapter. Not that many, but always a varied types of sessions, from mind mapping to design thinking, and a few of my favorite topics on agile always. So when I was approached again, I thought, because I'm too much into storytelling these days, and I have understood and realized the impact of storytelling into our day-to-day lives and projects, I thought, it's a best time to share this information as well. May I request person 2, 3, something to be on mute so that you don't annoy others. Ketanji, can you place that person on mute? Is it possible?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you. All right, so I want this session to be interactive. We always say this, हर एक को ये बोलना होता है, but I really mean it. So there are two things that you have to really do on this session. One is that use the chat as much as possible. I have made sure that my video is on because when you are into storytelling, your voice modulation and your facial expressions are the key to everything. Okay, so you need to also try and see my face from time to time, though it might not be that beautiful or clear, but try to see how I modulate my voice and how I have my facial expressions as well. Feel free to take any sort of screenshots wherever you feel that the topics are important. All the references that I use as a good MBA student, I have listed it down at the last slide as well. So, like I said, two things you have to do. You need to be on chat because otherwise it's going to be really boring. I don't want a PMI session to be because I haven't done a virtual session for PMI since long time now, and I'm used to doing sessions in those colleges mostly. So I want it to be interactive. All right. So use the chat and also make sure that, and I can guarantee you one thing, that your 2 hours will pass by very, very nicely. And next is I want to also make sure that you have a pen and a paper because we're gonna have a little exercise. Facts here on paper. All right, so let's start off. And yeah, so why are you here? May I know this on chat, please? If you can go on to the chat and type why you are here. You can always say that I'm here for my two PDUs, and I won't mind. But tell me, why are you here? Come on, use the chat. And it's just started. So, let's make it interactive right from slide one. If you can hear me, please type it on chat. Don't worry, no one is going to hold accountable for you. Nobody is going to hold anything against you if you just say two PDUs. Perfect. Thank you, Vikrant, to initiate it. To know how we can use storytelling skill in communication. Awesome. Others, come on, Vikrant has initiated it. Now everyone can piggyback on him. Gagan, improvise my storytelling skills. I'm here to know the benefits of storytelling. Fantastic. Fantastic. And just make sure that you mark it to all attendees, your chat, so that everyone gets it as well. Just not the panelists. Make sure that you mark it to all attendees. Fantastic, guys. Thank you very much for answering that. And of course, and let me tell you what you'll know after the end of 2 hours. Okay, because that's what's very important. I want to set the stage right at the first slide itself. You'll, of course, know why storytelling is important, right? You want to know that. The science behind now, and science of storytelling. I could have put it in many different ways: communication, collaboration, better skills, and 2021 most important skill. But I'm going to teach you what exactly happens when you tell a story. And by story, I mean how you articulate your, even a case study, in a way that, people react to it or act to it. Okay. Understand the hormones. That is what you're going to learn, and how stories can impact. You're going to know how to structure a story so it's not boring. You will also learn how to create your own story bank, because if you are asked, if you are in a senior management role or any place, and you're said that, oh, Santosh, can you please come and speak 2 minutes on your project? And you need to have a story bank ready for that. How to use the stories when the situation demands, right? So today, within these 2 hours, I'm going to cover A to Z of storytelling, everything that you want to know about storytelling and implementation. So it's not just gonna be, regular gyan. Okay. So I'm gonna talk all of that. Now, of course, if you want to dive into it, it's know about Scrum or Agile now. Now, if you want to deep dive into it, you're going to do a lot of more things, right? So at least this 2 hours will give you A to Z of the storytelling idea, right? Now, let me start off with a study. You can see at the bottom, I've mentioned it, significantobjects.com. Now, there was a study, and if I remember the name correctly, Joshua, he went to his friend and he said, "Hey, I want to do a study, and I have bought 100 objects from eBay, and all those objects he bought it for like $100 in total, or around $200. I'm sorry. Okay, uh, and you can imagine." 99 objects bought in $200, the average price of the object would be somewhere around a couple of dollars or so. So he bought objects from as low as 99 cents to as high as $3.50. And the experiment was, so they said that, okay, we're going to sell them. All right. So this 0.99, that's 99 cents horse head, was sold for 62, let's make it $63. This was one of the expensive ones that they bought, $3. This was sold for $193.5. Now that's awesome, isn't it? A total worth $197 worth of objects. These are some of them, by the way. Any guesses how much it would have been sold for? Come on. And thanks Ashwin and Darshan as well for your more comments. Any guesses, guys? 197, all of the objects, how much it would have been sold for? Any guess? Put a number. I don't go to significanceobjects.com to check, okay? 1,000, nice. 10K. All right, let me share. Thank you very much for keeping it interactive. $8,000. $8,000. On some objects, the profit margin was around 3,000 plus percent. All right. What happened? What happened that the horse head for $1 was sold for $63? A story happened. You know what the experiment was? The experiment was that they will pick these objects. They put an advertisement to 100 storytellers or people who write articles and so on. And they said that we want you to take an object, this object, and write a story. Again on eBay, now with the story attached to it. Imagine for a moment, if you're at home, most likely, look around and see, are there any significant objects in your place which are priceless? It's not your iPhones, it's not your television, it's not your air condition or any your expensive sofa or shoes, but you will find some rusty objects that your grandfather, your grandmother, or somebody gave it. And the moment you hold it in your hand, there the whole life flashes in front of you and a story is there. Do you have any such objects that if your house is burned down, you're going to at least pick that one object or that few objects and come out of the house? Do you have anything like that? And I'm sure you have. Can you share that if you don't mind? Do you have anything like that that has a significant value in terms of the story? Old radio, yeah, Moshin, thank you. So there you go. So it's not about just the price of the object. We don't buy for the price. We buy. Letter from my father. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Raj. So these are priceless. They are tied up with story. All right. You might find when you enter someone's house and you say, "Oh, such a nice vase." And if they just say that, "Oh, पता है मैं उस सेल में लेके आया था या लेके आई थी, and पता है वो ₹1,000 का था, मेरे को 900 में मिला." Not interactive. But just imagine if there's a story behind that vase, right? How that you got it, and and so on. So that gives you emotional bonding with the person. You get connected. So that is the power of story. That is the power of a story. So remember, we don't buy objects in a way, we buy memories. All right. And we are made up of memories and stories. I'll share. I want to know from you, like I said, it's an interactive session. I'm going to make sure that your hands are busy typing, right? I don't want to just side mein rakh diya phone or your laptop. All right. Do you have any myths about storytelling? Share with me. Do you have any myths about storytelling? Or have you heard about any myths when it comes to storytelling? I'm glad there are people who said that, storytelling is new for me, hence here. That's nice, Darshan. So do you have any myth on storytelling? Like, storytelling. The common myth I know is that storytelling is for children. I only do it for my 3-year-old. Is boring. All right, yeah, absolutely. That's nice, Vikrant. I love it. All right, any more? Any more, guys? Any more? Storytelling is boring. Yeah. And I'll try to break the myth as well. Any more? Come on, we have got more than 25 participants. Be interactive. That is the fun. All right. I guess I'll continue. So there are few myths, standard myths that I have learned over last 5-6 months, specifically when I've done a deep dive into storytelling. All right. There are many. I've just tried to highlight few of them. Okay. So it's too technical. My job is too technical. And you can very well hear this from typical IT person, specifically if you are into a lot of development and coding and things like that. Storytelling wouldn't apply. All right. I'm not a natural storyteller. Yeah, because people feel that you like, let me put, oh, thank you, others. So it's exactly what Vikrant said, in a way, because if you think that you're not a natural storyteller, it might be boring. We always have been told that we have to be precise, uh, which is contradictory. Storytelling, time consuming. Thank you guys, thank you Amit, and thank you Dr. Joginder. Perfect, this is nice, I love it. So keep the chats on, guys. Keep the chats on, okay? Don't just wait for me. Just keep the chat on. My clients are bottom line people. They don't understand about storytelling, right? My industry is different. Very standard way of saying that. Nahi hoega, you know. I don't have good stories. Of course, that's the problem. People always feel that, and if they do, they don't have good stories. And we learn. All right, I'm gonna try to break all these myths, and of course the ones that you have put across as well. Okay, let's continue. Like I said, keep coming. Sometimes I feel waste of time. Yeah, good. Thanks, Vikrant. I will try to make sure that these 2 hours are not wasted for you. Okay. All right. So who's Amit Khanna, right? So I've been introduced. That's so nice of Ketanji. And I'm not gonna talk about introduction, because whenever a person says that, "Who am I?" they start off with their company introduction, which is not that person, unfortunately, right? It's the depth that hold in an organization. So who is Amit Khanna? Well, Amit Khanna is, of course, into IT. You heard all that, but Amit Khanna is a person who's inquisitive and an experimenter. All right. I grew up in a humble family. Like most of us do that. I had lovely parents, like crazy, probably spoiled me as well. But after my father's death when I was 15, and that's where I started working. So I've been working since 1994. I don't know how many years it is now, 26 probably. And I have got the opportunity to work in different fields. Like I worked in textile industry, I worked in banking sector, I worked in When I say banking, as in actually door to door जाके knock करना, sir shares खरीदोगे क्या? Or things like that. And I've also worked in restaurants and bars. So with this, I grew up. So basically, I did my education and worked in the evenings and nights. So why I'm saying this is because I got a rich experience in terms of meeting people and meeting people in different way. You know, when I got into IT job, I was very happy because I used to struggle in textile industry working for 12 hours for 750 rupees to 1000 rupees a month, and that to no place to sit in the fan room for 11 and a half hours. 30 minutes I used to get was for my lunch. So when I got into IT, amazing, isn't it? Because you're in an AC room all the while. So, but I what learned from my whole experience of last 26 years is that, and meeting such a variety of people and staying in 7 countries, 6 countries other than India. And I mean staying there, not just short trips. I get to meet a lot of people and I get to share a lot of things and stories. Okay. With that, of course, I have also done a lot of education, and it's a certain place now. So that is what Amit Khanna is in a base. All right. Now I want you to tell me. There's a unfortunately, we need. Uh, we couldn't do the poll, actual poll there. Could you just answer Y, N, and NS? So you can just answer Y, N, or NS, or 1, 2, 3, whatever you like. The question is for people who are on N. Okay, yeah. Do you know anything about storytelling? NS, 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 N. More guys, please. Remember these polls. Thank you. 3 NS, NS. Yeah, perfect. Please go on. Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. These polls help me. This is like my 6th webinar that I'm doing. And every time I do the polls, I get a feed wherein I know now what my new slides or upcoming slides or change happens. Perfect. Thank you very much. Oh, Bharat sir is also here. Hello, Bharat sir. So thank you very much for your poll. And most of the answers is no or not sure. And that is perfect because that's the intention of the poll at this stage. All right. So I'm going to move on. Like I said, I'm not going to give you 1 minute that I bore you off. All right. And if you get bored or not sure, ping me. Held anybody any accountable. Perfect. Now, storytelling is going to be 2021 and beyond. Okay. Now, I'm not saying this. All right. I'm not the one who has captured this. I read it, like I said, at many places. Enterprisesproject.com, Forbes, Times of India, Harappa Education, Blue Minds. You can always Google them, and there are many more, right? Many more. So, storytelling is a skill. And like any other skill, guys, I can tell you that, and it's like a muscle, right? We heard this gym mein jao, muscle roj badhta hai. Similarly, storytelling is just like that. You know, it might be boring, annoying, not understood, not sure, do not like it. But over a period of time, if you start implementing it, or at least start getting understanding it, because that's the most important thing. If you try and understand it, everything that you see will be a story. And I have started the, again, I'm not a master storyteller, but that's my goal eventually. But now I have at least reached to a point that everything I see, hear, listen, or talk is mostly in form of those structures that I'm going to share with you. All right. Let's take a, oops, I'm sorry. Just, all right. Now, neural coupling. Like I said, you need to know about some science of storytelling, right? So please do not do right now. Let me hear me. You can obviously, you're gonna get all the recording, you're gonna get the presentation. All right. Or the best thing is the references page will have everything where I refer to, whom I refer to, what I read, and where I get my images from. All right. I've put everything there. Just listen to me. And as I said, and see me. Unfortunately, when I do my webinars, I have a habit to seeing people because I want to see whether you get or I can see the pupils and other expressions of yours. But anyways, let's start. So study conducted and correct, it's saying that network, no?
Yes, yes. Slightly, Amit, slightly it's distorting, but
Thank
we are
you.
able to
Thank you.
make sense of what you are telling us.
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay. All right. Let me, if it happens again, I just make sure to check a few things, okay? Yeah, breaking. Okay. We are having, yeah, because it's saying that we are having problems connecting you. I'm not sure where is the problem.
Maybe bandwidth problem. Amit, can I suggest if you can put off your video? Will it help? Let's just see it for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I will do that.
Uh,
Sure, sure, sure. No, no, I will do that. Yeah, all right. So I've put off my video. Just give me the feedback, guys.
I think now this is much better. We are not
All
losing
right, all
any
right.
words.
Seems network issue at a. Thank you, Milind. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Dhananjay. Thank you very much, guys. All right. Unfortunately, you cannot see me anymore, but that's fine. No worries. Uh, so neural coupling. So there's a study that was conducted. Why am I muted now? I'm not muted.
No, no, you are not muted. I think
Yeah,
again we lost few words what you are saying. If you can
yeah,
just repeat last sentence.
okay. Yeah, yeah, sure. I just got a pop-up saying that you're muted. That's weird. Anyway, I'll do that again. Sorry for all the technical difficulties, guys. There was a study. I'm gonna keep the chat window a bit up so people can ping me, okay, if there's any problem. So there was a study that was done, and what they did was, sorry, they got few people who were attending a seminar, physical room, and this it's a study. Remember that presentation not visible. Okay.
It's visible to me. I don't know about others, but your one slide.
Vikrant just said presentation
I
not
know, I
visible.
know.
It's
I can
just
see that. Yes,
visible. Okay.
yes, yes,
Vikrant,
visible.
just have a check at your end, please. No worries. Thanks, guys. Okay, thank you. Thank you. uh, yeah, so the study was that let me restart it, okay? And I'm again very sorry. Forget all this. Let's just go one slide back. Okay, this is what happens. Some fun. Okay. Now, you cannot see me, but try to imagine what I'm trying to say. Okay, try to imagine Amit Khanna with the specs on now. If you are in Mumbai, most of you should be. Now, there's nothing on the screen, okay? So if you're in Mumbai and if you've been to Borivali, there's a place called as Indraprasth. Okay, it's a very old shopping mall, very old. And I'm talking around a couple of decades back, when I used to go there with my friends or with my to be wife at that time. And, there's always a lot of stalls outside Indraprasth. Okay. One of the stalls was my favorites. It used to make masala papad. So you reach there and you have this big round kadhai, and that guy is putting a fresh big size. Now I can't show you the video, but a big size popper inside. And then it makes those crackling sound with all the oils inside it. Okay. And then he lifts it up, and you can see that the flat popper, which used to be, now it's like a nice fluffy one. And he puts it on a paper which has a silver foil, and he gives it to his fellow next to it. Normally we call it that fellow as Chotu. So Chotu takes it, and Chotu puts nice tomato and onion and little bit of he puts salt and pepper and a masala. Okay. And he hands it to you, right? And there is also a little bit of green chutney on top of it to make it more exciting. So you hold that. Now, again, you can't see the image, but you can't see me, but you hold that. And when you break it, there's a sound of that break. Okay. And then you put that in your mouth, and there's this warm feeling and a little of cold feeling of the chutney and all the juices and the tastes that comes to your mouth. And just next to that, there is another guy who's making masala soda, right? So you have the masala popper, or you have a jeera soda sort of a thing. And he takes a plastic glass, puts some green liquid in it, puts it under machine, and there it goes, the white colorless or white fluid puts in. You take the glass right near to your nose, and the bubbles touch your nose. And the moment you take a nice cold sip of it, and you're like, that's heavens, that's blessing. Now, I want you to tell me, did you feel, got any sort of a taste, smell of the masala popper when I was describing this? Did you imagine that? Did you went into that thought process? Yes, yes, there you go. Many yeses. This, my friends, is one of the science behind storytelling. Yes, yes, many yes. Thank you. See, this is what I like. When I do it for the Mumbai folks, they at least know what I'm talking about. When my webinars, sometimes I don't have any Mumbai people, so thoda difficult ho jata. All right, so that is neural coupling, my friends. Neural coupling may, what happens is that when the speaker talks certain things, the brain has got lot of places. And brains are all, it is not just a piece of mass. The way the data moves inside the brains are all through electronics. And you freshen my mind with this example. Wonderful, Vikrant. Thank you. Uh, so they get connected, right? They're circuits in a way. And when those circuits, so you can measure the brain waves in a certain manner. And when the test was conducted in the speaker's mind and with the listeners, they found out that the graphs of all of them are same. We call it as, not we, science called it as neural coupling. All right. Now, mirror neurons. What I did also was to activate your mirror neurons in your mind, right? So this is written by a famous author, and I pick up his name, called as Monkey See, Monkey Do. Monkeys are always used for experiments, and there was an experiment where the monkey was given the banana, and they used to track what happens when you give him the banana, what happens when he peels off, and what happens when he eats. And one day the monkey, like, the electrodes were always there on his head, and the doctor, one of the scientists, got up and took a banana, and he was about to eat it, and he saw some deflections on the graphs, and that is where they realized that the mirror neurons have triggered the same thing. So monkey thought that he's holding a banana and he's going to eat it. So that's a mirror neurons that triggered. I'm sorry. I'll come to this. Okay, analytical versus creative, we heard a lot, but I'll come to this on my perspective. Hold on for a moment. In our brain, there is many areas. Now, please, can you explain it again? You mean analytical and creative part? Oh, monkey brains. Yeah. So basically there are mirror neurons. So what happens is when the monkey takes the banana in his hand, okay, like when I told about the papad, and when Vikrant said that you freshen my mind with this example, when you had the same taste, the feel, the mirror neurons in your mind and my mind triggered in a way. That is what happened when the banana was picked up and monkey sees the same action. Okay, so that is mirroring basically. So neural coupling is that we now both go on to the same world in same areas. So mirror neurons is one part of neural coupling that happens. Okay. Now there are more parts. So there are many scientists, but two of the scientists, Broca's and Renix, uh, they found out these two parts of the brain. Okay. Now please remember that I'm not a doctor and I'm not a brain anything. I have read information which I find it relevant when it comes to storytelling. These are called as the language part. When you share a presentation, when you share your information, especially those boring Word documents as well, you invoke these two areas of the mind. But if you want to get the mind to work, you need to go and hit many other places like I did. Emotions, smell, sensation, motor movements, physical movements, and so on, right? And now, if I come back to this analytical and creative, now I'm a project manager and being in as a developer and so on and so forth till the current place, I have heard one thing a lot from my seniors: be creative, Amit. And I'm like, kya karne ka hai? Think outside the box. I said, all right, but where is the box? And then like they always wanted to tell me that your head is a box. Now, but the point is that it's a standard jargons, right? I'm an MBA student now, and I'm not saying that everyone uses jargons, but what does it exactly mean? What do you mean by being creative? What do you mean by being you're an analytical person, you're a creative person? What does that mean? No one says that. And if you ask, probe them more, they will say that, oh, itna bada designation ho gaya, you should know that. All right, so I learned it in a different way. I worked as a developer. Whenever I used to get unit testing, I used to write my unit test cases in a notepad so that next time अगर मुझे same unit test case करना है तो मैं table name replace कर दूंगा, column name replace कर दूंगा, बाकी सब join and all that stuff is in place. Now when I see it, my team members, fellow team members, many of them, they automated, and I'm talking about more than a decade ago. So I never automated it in my way because I'm not, I always feel that I'm not a good coder. Okay. So I used to save those text files. Now I see few of my folks, few of my team members, they are more steps ahead from me. And I didn't tell them. They take that text files and they create EXEs out of them or batch files and they automate it. Now, now with automation tools, that is what's happening. But see the creative part of it. The guy is still very, very technical, analytical in a way, but that's creative. That is innovation, right? Why can't that be innovation? Why it has to be a Tesla car that has to be an innovation? Innovation and creativeness starts from a very low beginnings. All right. You don't have to have a rocket to always say that I've been innovative. Anything that you do to save time in a way could be innovation, right? So that's exactly what happens as well when you use storytelling as a part of it. Because when you use storytelling, you know why user stories are very nice and handy? And why our traditional project management may business analyst, when you used to get and write all the requirement gathering, why user story helps a little better? Because user story gives a narration of the problem. Oh, I'm watching the camera and I just realized that camera off. Hai. But user story, if you can understand the feelings from my voice, that would be nice. User stories actually narrate the problem in a way that it helps you. If you know design thinking, anything about it, and if you know personas, you will understand what I'm trying to say and where stories help. When you build a persona about something, and if you're working on some project, and if you create personas, your chances of hitting the target, that is the requirement, will be a little better than just plainly following the things that are present in the requirement document. And it all helps when you can articulate the words in a way that it tells a story. I hope I made sense. Please say yes or no. Please try once with the camera on. Hope it's Moshin. I would love to. I am trying to turn on my camera. All right. So you understood, guys, right? So that's the essence of it. Okay. Because you need to make sure that creativity, and if you're in a management, if you're in any such position, authority, please do not just go ahead and shout those jargons. All right, it just doesn't help, believe me. You need to give them a logical way, and one of the best ways is to help people understand what persona building is. You can always go to Google, and you can always go to, thank you, Bharat sir, you can always go to IDEO.com, and they are the king of design thinking. So you can do that. Thank you, Bharat sir. So that's what. Now remember, yeah, of course, there are people who are a little more creative minded people, but that doesn't mean they can't be analytical. There are always people who are a little more analytical, but that doesn't mean you're not creative. It's just that when you see the data first, how do you see the data? Do you, like, when I see the data, my mind talks both ways. I immediately see a table in a column format, or I see a graph immediately. That's how I look at the data. When someone else looks at the data, they see it in a different way, right? So that's all about it, but that doesn't mean you cannot be one. All right, so let's move forward. All right, why storytelling? I thought Amit ne wo cover kar liya. No, not yet. All right, let's do this. This is, so why storytelling, right? Because storytelling helps you with collaboration. And I'm going to give you examples. Now, understand this. You are in a storytelling session. You're going to listen to examples, right? Otherwise, there's no point. I can always issue, or forget me, you are capable of always Googling and saying storytelling, and you'll find thousands of articles. But that doesn't make sense, right? So, increase audible right hand corner. Thank you, Bharat sir. Storytelling helps you with collaboration. Storytelling helps you with persuasion. Storytelling helps you with presentation skills. Wow, interesting, isn't it? Storytelling helps you with high retention. I'm going to tell you a story. Before I say anything, please remember, this is the most boring thing to tell anybody. Never, now I'm leaning to the camera so that you understand. Never start your statement saying that I'll tell you a story. Never, never do that. The mind, if it has a myth that it is boring, storytelling is equal to boring, storytelling is equal to time consuming, storytelling is equal to, oh my God, pakayega. Never start with that statement that I will tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. Never do that. Okay. So that's one piece of advice. So now, since I've initiated it, right? I have a show. You can see my banner says there, stories that impact, right? So I got a very interesting person. His name is Rupak Shah. You can always Google him. He's a wonderful gentleman. And Rupak is actually a aeronautical maintenance guy who never got into aircraft, and he got into training and development for the first 5-6 years. I'm sure he's continuing doing it, but now he's a storyteller, and he's a very good storyteller. Okay, you can always Google and check him out, like I said. So Rupak told me on my show that, Amit, when people used to listen to my motivation and they used to come for my sessions, 1 day webinar, 2 day webinar, and you know what happens, right? So you give a lot of knowledge, information, and then you give certain tasks, right? So that people kal jayenge and they will do it. Like, let's say, how to set up goals, how to attain them, how to work on it, right? And he said that people meet me after a year or two and they say, Rupak sir, I still remember that story that you told me about motivation. So Rupak is very happy and he asks, so how is your progress going on? Sir, वो थोड़ा चल रहा है, but sir वो story मेरे को अभी भी याद है और मैं sir को is high retention. That is high retention. Increases imagination. Yes, sir. Absolutely right. Can help in ice breaking. So that's exactly what it is. I think Vikrant, you were talking about can we say story? Let me tell you a story now. I'll give you nice other ways to say that. Okay, so that's high retention, right? Now, rapport, communication. Before I move on to the last word that I have, which is the major impact for me, I always feel it. Let me I was in Sweden till last March 19th, working for Volvo Cars. And Teradata had a very good presence, has a very good presence when it comes to the project. And we were around 70, total of 100 odd people, and many of them at onshore, coming from India, Pakistan, Manila, and coming from Austria. Of course, we were in Swedish, so we had Swedish folks, we had Finland folks as well, and I think maybe one or two German team members. So now I'm talking, and my project was from 4 countries other than India. So it was quite interesting. Now, when I went there within 3 months in a project management meeting, now I was the only project manager among other Swedes, at that time. And I was not representing my company, but I was representing Volvo. So in a way, they hired me as the project manager for the whole project, not just Teradata part. So one of the guys told me that, hey, Amit, you're different. I'm like, why? And he said that I see others in groups. They have their lunch buddies and they have their team buddies. But you are different in a way that you are always with some or the other Swede. And you within 4 months, you meet a lot of people. You have known them very well. And I said, and I laughed at him and saying that, I know them, but I don't know you. So we all laugh. But what exactly happened? Do you think that I kept telling them, hey, let me tell you a story? No, I'll give you one example. We went for lunch and we ordering pizza, and he ordered a meatball sub, and I ordered a chicken pizza, for example. And the conversation started. He asked, Amit, have you had meatballs? I said, no, and it's also banned in India, banned in Mumbai, I'm sorry. And there you go. A conversation started. And slowly and gradually, you start sharing certain details. And when you do that, you feel confident, you feel connected. You're not talking about, oh, you know what? Tomorrow is the testing. Are we ready? Tomorrow is XYZ. Oh, this manager, this did that, that person did that, this team member. No, we don't talk all that. Of course, we do sometimes, but it's not every time, right? So sometimes you need to build. You might have seen that when you are in your project, but your team lunch buddy is someone else who's not in your project. He's your best friend. Why? Because you connect to each other, right? Of course, you share your things with him or her. But why not that sort of a bonding also happens within the group? Why is it that the project team members always have to discuss about the same thing, right? When you do all this, right, of course, it's used in leadership as well. You build trust. You build trust. And that is why all these scenarios. That is why it is storytelling. Linking, absolutely. Absolutely. Very nice. Absolutely. Okay, now again, you don't want I don't want this to happen, right? And I hope it's not happening. That you guys are like, okay, abhi kya time ho raha hai? I don't know. All right, 11 o'clock ho gaya. Let me see what's coming on the TV, or let me go to Netflix on the next side, right? You want people to be engaged. You want people to take notes. You want people to sit and listen to you, because that's the best thing you can ever get, is someone listening to you. And when you listen, you not only hear them, you understand them. When I put a line on the presentation, next target goal 21%, whatever, average recurring revenue hona chahiye, I am saying that, you're hearing that, it will just go off. When you add something towards it, what happens to it, and tag us some basic information, people will get words. Okay, that's the difference. And I'm not saying, but you need to use and statements in such a way that it relates to something. It's not just a liner. Okay. Now, now am I good, guys? No,
Yes, yes, audible. Yes,
it's just an hour.
clearly.
Come on, me. Yes, yes. Perfect. Guys on the chat, thank you much, sir. I can clearly recognize your voice. All right. Cracking voice. Breaking in between. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my video for some time. Okay. Others, please go on to mute, please. Thank you very much. All right, I've turned off my video. All right, now, am I audible, guys? Dhananjay, Naushad, Raj, Milind, is it fine? Thank you very much. All right, now please put it on chat. Who knows this ad? Come on, put it on chat. Who knows this ad? Tell me the product. Tell me the product. Sanitizer. All right, Shobit. Who's next? Come on. I want at least 3 more people to respond. Gadi detergent powder, Milin. Come on, anybody else? Absolutely. Thank you. It is Gadi's ad. Now, if you've seen the ad, you know the way I see this now, it's a story. They didn't come up saying that this is our powder, it does everything, it is very clean. Now we have a mask on it to help COVID. Now, there was a story behind it, a story with a lot of sentiments in that. When you listen to this, it's not about that you'll go and buy the ghadi, but it touches you at a deep rooted level. When you see ghadi next time, probably, and you have a little daughter or a son, you might get a little emotional to go and purchase the product as well. Okay, that is the power. All right. This, anybody, any clue? These are two. One is old Sardarji uncle and another one is young Sardarji uncle. Any guesses? I want three guesses, guys. Anybody? Don't Google. Okay. You can guess quickly. Anyone? No guesses? All right. This is an ad of Hyundai. Hyundai completing 20 years. And the ad goes like this, that they are on a dining table and they are eating their meals, and the old Sardarji uncle is not happy because his son wants to sell the car. And the dad is like, "Arey, 20 years se mere paas wo gaadi hai, I don't want to sell it." And the buyers come in and they look at the car, such a wonderful piece. It's very clean, neat. And they open the dashboard. And in that, there are two toys of this son who was very young at that time, and he holds the toys and a flashback goes, and there you go, he remembers everything. He comes back and his dad asks, "So how much did they pay?" and he said that जब मैंने total value इसकी निकाली with all the memories, we can't, no one can buy it. And then they go hug it. And then comes the 20 years, right? They don't sell it that this is the car, this is how it is, buy it. Remember Simon Sinek, right? People buy because you have to explain them the why. People buy your why and not what and how. Last one. Come on, tell me. This I'm sure you would know. Come on, guys. Bonvita, Complan. It is Horlicks. Vikram got it. Horlicks. जब मैं अपने बेटे से हार जाऊंगी तब मैं जीत जाऊंगी. Something like that, right? जब वो मेरे से जीत जाएगा तो मैं जीत जाऊंगी. That is the ad title, tagline. They didn't start off with, here is my product, drink this, run. No, that's not how it is. The way that things are structured, like I said, once you're done with this 2 hours, you will now start observing everything in terms of a story. And you will start getting this, that if I have to stand up and give a presentation tomorrow, be it in any technical way, how I can make it memorable. All right, now let me go on to the next one. Oops. Do you know all these games, right? These are video games. The left one is Galactica. ये जब मैं छोटा था तो मैं खेलता था. And then there is the Tomb Raider and Uncharted. And I've played both of them. This Uncharted was on PS3, I believe. So what is the difference between this? Earlier, the games used to be like play, button, play, select 1, 2 players, play. That's it. Now, if you know, all the games have a story. They start off with 2 minutes, 3 minutes, sometimes 7, 8 minutes of background story. Because gaming industry learned long back that, if they want to make the games huge and big and all the connections and dots, you need to have stories placed well. You need to know who's your protagonist. You need to know who's the villain, who's the person who's doing X, Y, and Z, why you're here to play the game, right? You're not just here to kill the bad guys anymore. Okay? Fantastic. Now, acceptance. Now, what exactly does this mean? Now, again, I'll not turn on my video, but let me share that. I'm not a good student when I was a child. And I remember when I was 7 years old, 8 years old, or maybe 10 years old, 7th, 8th standard, I was very bad. And I was always compared to my neighbor, always. And what happened is it got into me. And in 80s, the way it was like, Amit, tu duffer hai. Amit, you are not good for anything. Amit, tu bada hoke kanda bechega. Because we never had much jobs at that time, probably. So I kept hearing that. What happened to me? My beliefs were that, Amit, you're good for nothing. Amit, you cannot study. You will never excel in your life. That is what my beliefs became. When my beliefs were such, what do you think my attitude and behavior would be? Of course, I'll not like the scholar students. Of course, I will have a certain amount of hatred when someone says, oh, my son did this. And I'm like, oh, I can't say anything because my belief, arrogance. Yeah, absolutely. I became a little arrogant towards whoever studies well. You know how long it took me at the age of 21? I always used to pass. I always used to pass with whatever minimal amount of study I used to do. I used to pass, but I never realized and I never accepted. No one told me that. No one told me. At 21, when I was in my final year, I accepted one thing. I accepted that, and I'm Vikrant, I'm just taking your name in this case. If Vikrant is a good student and he can finish this book or this chapter in, let's say, 2 hours, Amit, you will take 6 hours. And that's fine. That's fine because we are not at the same place, all of us, at all the time. So it's okay. And I did that. The day I accepted it, my life changed. I've got 9 certifications so far. I've done my master's. I'm an avid reader. I am a reader that I'm mad. I don't watch TV. I don't watch sports. I don't read newspapers. all I do the whole day probably is just reading, because now I'm addicted to it. Why? Because I changed my belief system. And this is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. And why I'm saying this is because mindset and values, we have values of honesty, we have values of integrity, and such big words: health, family. If you have a value of health and family value says that you should take them out and enjoy the life. And if you simultaneously you have a health value, are you going to eat the vada pav then when your son says, oh, I want it? So you need to prioritize your values as well. What comes first and what next? People do not even know what their values are. Let me put it very honest. All right. We just see behaviors because that is what you see outside. When someone doesn't agree to your presentation, when someone doesn't buy into what you're saying, please remember that it comes from their belief system. Just do not get upset. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Try and understand what their values and beliefs are towards this topic. Okay. Just don't get upset next time if someone doesn't buy in what you're trying to say, because your beliefs and their beliefs could be different. Okay. I know studies is good, but my belief says that I hate everyone who's a good at studies. All right. Now, let's move quickly. Let's do this exercise. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's do this. It is 11:05. Let's have a quick 10-minute break. Okay. And we
Right,
come
right.
back.
Thanks, Mr. Amit Khanna. Uh, all participants will take 10 minutes break, as mentioned by Mr. Amit Khanna. So don't go away. It's interesting session, and we'll be back in another 10 minutes. Okay. So, Amit ji, I'm going to take control from you. I'm going to
Sure.
become presenter, and I'm
Sure.
going to run my usual slide, which we run in break.
Sure.
Right? Okay. Thank you.
We're done with 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Sorry.
Yes, we'll just start in another 2 minutes.
Sure.
Hello, I hope everyone is back. I'm going to start session. I'm handing over to Mr. Amit Khanna and I'm making him presenter.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. We are able to see your presentation.
Fantastic. And let me just make sure that I have the chat with me. All right, perfect. Thank you, Tushar, for the confirmation. All right, now let's begin. So we had a wonderful Kit Kat break. I'm sure you would have nice snacks as well. All right, I'm going to tell you a shortest story, 6-word story. It is for sale baby shoes never worn. It's written by Ernest Hemingway. And I'll give you a tip. You Google the Hemingway editor as well. Okay, it's a very good play thing to use when you have to send emails and to make sure that your grammar and all that things is check or not. And Hemingway editor gives you a scale of 1 to 8 or 9, I believe. If you are anywhere on 8 or 9, that means it's so heavy worded that half of the people will never understand what you've written. So try to be in 6, 5, 6 or so. So baby shoes never worn. That this was actually awarded. Now Ernest Hemingway is not the one. He was the one who got the award, but it's not something that he came up with. During the Holocaust times, there were many people who were moved out of their house. And imagine for a moment that a lady is pregnant and the mother and father goes for shopping to buy some baby shoes for newborn baby. And you know and that's it. It's never been worn because now we do not know how it is. And this, when you relate to all those Holocaust survivors, and there are many more such like that. Okay, this is not just the one. Cradle never used, baby dress never worn, and so on. But it has got a lot of emotion in these 6 words. You know, uh, so that's a shortest 6-worded award-winning story. Now, today I'm going to teach you or share with you something that I created it in a way called as dose. So I'm going to give you a dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Okay. As you said, never start with, I'm going to tell a story. I not received Kit Kat. Vikrant will share it soon, my dear. So, dose. All right. And with that, I need permission to inject this into your system now. All right. I'm going to do it like this. Please believe me, I don't have any needles here, but I'm going to use stories to inject this. May I have your permission? Please, yes or no? May I have the permission to inject those into your body? Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So let me start off with dopamine. Now, of course, remember, I'm not a genius student, right? So I don't want to get into how the benzene ring looks right now. Now, I'm a very big fan of Apple product. And I'm so big fan that मेरे ऑफिस में लोग बोलते थे पता है टिम को किसके लिए कमा रहा है because अमित खन्ना खरीद रहा है. And probably it could be because I have almost every phone that Apple released from iPhone 4. I haven't got the 12 yet. So I was in Bangladesh, and this was back in 2017, and it was October, and November is when the phone generally launches in India. And I just got a Apple iPhone 8 Plus. Now remember that, and around in August, and iPhone 10 was like a surprise bonus or whatever, right? That was launched in November. Now, again, with the ads and everything, and I got hooked up and I called my guy on WhatsApp. He's one of the guys in the Reliance stores in Hard West Infinity Mall. So I called him up and I said, "Hey Ravi, I need the phone यार." तो बोला सर आपने एप्लीकेशन भरा है? मैंने बोला नहीं रवि मैंने वो एप्लीकेशन भरा नहीं है. So there was a link that was sent for pre-booking. ओ सर वो आपको भरना चाहिए था. अच्छा मैं देखता हूँ. So मैंने बोला रवि देख 3 हफ्ते में मैं आ रहा हूँ. लॉन्च कब है? बोला सर 3 नवंबर. मैं बोला ठीक है आई एम गोइंग टू लैंड ऑन 1 नवंबर. 3 नवंबर तू मेरे को बता. So 4 दिन हो गए 5 दिन हो गए. There was no message and I again called him. Ravi, what happened? Plus sir I cannot do anything right now. Can you come on 3rd? Launch is going to start from 5:30 6 p.m. आप उससे पहले आ जाओगे आधा घंटा? मैं बोला of course आ जाएगा. And 4th November happens to be my son's birthday. At that time he was I guess 2. So I went there and super excited, landed in Mumbai, and oh my God, मेरा नया iPhone आ रहा है, and I already started to sort of dislike my new iPhone, big one. It's just 3 months old, but yeah, I said I'm crazy, right? So now my levels of dopamine are very high, super high, because I'm excited. It's an anticipation, right? That's what kicks in the dopamine. So I'm very excited. There's it is now. It's 3rd November. I tell my wife, take my son, get into the car. And I'm going from Malad East. I stay in East and Malad West. And it's the dreaded flyover. And I go and boom, there's an accident. Now, fortunately for us and for the person other, it wasn't a big one. He was coming back. I was going forward. My headlight broke. There was a bump in my dent in my bumper, and so on, and the paint issue. We got down, argued for 5 minutes. You know how generally it happens. But then we both realized that, it's each other's fault. And I saw the watch. I'm like, oh my God, it's 4. And I have to reach there and I have to cross this whole flyover. So I'm like, to hell with it, let me go. And I went. I parked my car excitedly, went there, reached there, and I see many people now standing. When you go to an Apple store, you will see people surfing around most of the time. You don't see people standing idly. And that made me a little nervous. I'm like, oh my God, itne log aaye hain phone lene ke liye. And then this guy comes, hey Ravi, hi, greets my wife's son. And he says, sir, I'll come back. Waiting 1 hour gone. Now my son has visited all the corners of the showroom and he is like irritated now. So I tell my wife that take this money, this wallet, and go out and shop, give him some balloons, do something. I can't leave. And she knows how crazy I am. And And I see people now, it's 4:30, 5:30, okay. And then, those happy people taking the boxes with them and so excited. And I'm like, why I'm holding this old phone? And then after 3 hours, Ravi comes with his head down. And you know what? When a person comes with the head down, what happens? Right? And that's where I end the story. Would you like to know further what happened with me that day? Yes or no? Yes, of course you want to know. But I'm going to end it here and I'm going to tell you what this is called. It is called as the hook or the cliffhanger moment. You need to add these flavors into your presentation. You need to take those pauses at the right moment so that people are engaged into your presentation. Now, I'm not going to share what happened further, okay? Because it's just a fun for me, right? I'm the speaker. But that's what happened. It's a feel good factor. When you are excited for something that is going to come across, and that feeling, the dopamine rush of going to that place and then getting it is what dopamine kicks in. And when you do this, you also have a longer lasting memories. Use it in your presentation. Use the hook, use this silence, use the cliffhanger moments in a certain way. Just don't keep presenting your slides one after another. It's very boring. All right, oxytocin. Are you ready? I'll take yes. Yeah, thank you. See, now it's a. I'm sitting on the sofa, and I hear my mother crying, and and I just run toward a door, and the door says, I'm gonna turn on the video this time. Door says, block letters, I see you. And just below, there's a banner which says, please remove your shoes. I see that I'm not wearing anything, and I touch the knob. The knob is ice cold. I turn on the knob, enter, and I go rush to the bed where my father is lying down with all the tubes inside his mouth and many on his body. And I quickly see the monitor, and it showed a graph up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I'm 14, and I know from watching so many Hindi movies that when it is up, down, up, down, up, down. And then I just stood there, and I started to wonder that it's so cold. I got the feeling of that coldness, and I started wondering how my father is lying there with a bed sheet, and we never had an air condition. How he's managing such a cold all the while? I'm just here for like a minute. And while I'm in this thought process, and then I wonder why my mother cried. He's all fine. And I got a tap, and I saw behind, and they're like, nurse, kya kar raha hai? Bahar jao. And I went out. And when I went out, I actually realized that, my uncle came, my mother's brother, real brother, my maternal uncle. He came, and that's where, I thought maybe she got all emotional and started crying. And then after 3 hours, I see now I'm on the sofa just doing nothing. You remember there's no phones back in 1994 and stuff. So I'm just lying around, I'm just walking here and there, and I see now many people crying in my, that group that we had, the family members. And I didn't spoke to them. I again rushed in, and same thing. This time I see a straight line. Ping, ping. And I know again from movies that he's dead. Now, I don't know how to react because I don't know what death is. Okay? I don't know. Now, when I see that and I know it's dead, so nothing happens, people are going to cry because that's what the movies taught me is that people yell, cry, shout when someone dies. And also watching the movies, I know there are certain rituals. So things went off, and we went and we cremated him. I'm not crying at all. Next day, we are at home. There are many people at home. It's like buzzing around. But people are sad. People are crying. People are like not happy. There are no smiles on people's faces. Even if I feel something is nice, if I feel like I'm watching at a cat or a bird, I can't come and tell anyone because everyone is so sad and dull. And I again cannot understand why. And then we're done with the 13th day, 14th day came along, and then the every relative, people, I don't have any brothers and sisters, so it was just me and my mother, and everyone left. Now, all of a sudden, my apartment looks bigger. It's just a studio apartment, and it still looks bigger. And yeah, now nothing is there. I get up in the morning, everything is same. She makes tea and she makes lunch, and things are moving on. And the clock struck 6 in the evening. And I know that my father comes in at 6 p.m. I know. And it was 6:30 and no one came. I went out in the veranda just to lean out and see if he's late. And it all struck me when I just turned my head back and I saw an image of him with a garland on top. And that is when, that day, I realized what death is. It means that person is not going to come back. Me sad. What made me sad more until date is the fact that I don't know him well. I was never a father and a child relation that, oh, beta, come and I'll teach you something. I don't know anything about my father because we never spoke in a friendlier manner. I was always with my friends or doing my things, and I was a bad student, so he always, and I had that belief as well that my parents don't love me because I'm a horrible student as well, and they were like कि क्या है डफर कहाँ से पैदा हो गया. So that day I realized what death is, and I cried that day. I cried a lot, and I get sad every time I think about it as well, every time. So there are two things that I want to share with you with this story. Is that oxytocin connects people with bond and love and trust. When you put the right emotion into your audience, they're going to bond you. They're going to bond with you. They're going to trust you. Let me know if these things happened with you as well when I was narrating this story. Did you had some sort of a, I'm not talking sympathy and empathy here. I'm talking that did you had some sort of a soft corner, a love, a trust, or any way of bonding with me? Did you had that? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Second, I want to emphasize from this story is that if you have your parents, your loved ones around you, know about them, know about what they went through, know about their stories. The richest place on this planet is the grave, is because all the stories, all the memories are there right now, and we cannot take it out. That's the richest place right now. When my son asks about his grandpa, I don't know what to tell him apart from the things that I learned from my mother or my relatives or my neighbors told me. I don't know. I don't have a personal one-to-one story that I can say, hey, you know what? My father taught me this. No, I have no clue. So don't miss out on this opportunity, guys. Okay. If you have your loved ones around you, wherever they are, pick up the phone, call them up, talk to them, know about their story. That is what it is. We are made up of stories. We're going to give this gift to everyone and leave this earth. Nothing else. Nothing else. Okay. With that, let me continue. And I'm going to turn off the video to make sure we have bandwidth. So I'm not going to introduce serotonin in your system today and neither endorphins, but these are what they do. Like I said, I don't use a lot of words, but sometimes karna padta hai. Right? All right. Now, the next step is how you create your story bank, right? Because you need to have story banks, right? I need to you need to learn that, right? And it's a habit. Okay, remember this. Nothing is gonna come overnight. Okay, so don't get bored. All right, do it every single day. So you're gonna create this story bank or a vault. You can use Excel, and I'll show you how you can use it. You can use Evernote. You can use Word document. You can use Day One app. I'll show you a sample of Day One app. You can always use the traditional book and pen. Okay. Techniques. So you use the Excel. Now you all are IT guys, most of you. You need to use timestamp, right? So you need to have your date. You need to have the time, AM, PM, very important. And you need to have the day, very important. And then you will write the story. Now, what exactly is a story? A story you don't have to write. You can just say that Sunday, 17th of Jan, storytelling with Amit. A little boring, a little enjoying. That's it. Okay, I hope you will not write it a little boring, but I'm just giving you an example, right? Because when you write these 2, 3 words, keywords, believe me, by the power of mind mapping, by the power of linking in our the brains, how it functions, you will remember everything of this day. And even if you don't, okay, it's not that you have to narrate it word by word, right? You need to learn that art as well, right? But you need to note these things like that. And why date and time and day is because when you have data, now remember, I'm a big fan of data. Okay, you give me data and I love it. So when you have data, or let's say 25 lines, rows, you will automatically understand which are the stories that, when is the best time that you get maximum stories? When is the best time your brain works in a very different manner? When is the best day? What's that best hour of the day? Okay. Now, when you do that, then the next column will be linking. So you have to write that emotion, and you can write that this story might trigger dopamine, this story might trigger oxytocin. This is a combination of those, so on. Again, you will not be able to do it right away. You will have to practice every day. So even if you don't get the emotion at the first place, at least write down the stories. Next is mind mapping technique. Okay. And if I get time, I'll share that with you. This is the Day One app. You see, this is like almost 6 months old image. I had 344 entries, 814 media, 290 days of record, and 101 places. Now, this could be anything. Okay. Kandivali, Borivali, this, that. So don't think that I've been to 111 countries. And the free app will limit you with the media, but it's okay. You can just type it out. So try it on. It's available on both what do you call it? Apple and Android. All right. Now let's move on to structuring the story, right? Because now you know what is the emotions. Now you know how I can create my stories. I mean, how I can store them. Now you want to know that how you want to structure your story so that it's not boring. Because remember, a statement or 3, 4 minutes of talk could be worthwhile for somebody and could be a death penalty for somebody. It is your choice, your way. What do you want to make it? If you want to bore somebody, yeah, that's a different thing. You can, of course, use it. But if you don't want to, try these two structures. All right. Now, everything that you see going forward, movies, ads, anything, try to fit in these two structures. Okay. This is the basic one, and I urge you to use it. Do you know what is this? Come on, put it on chat. What is this? The name of the app is David. Inhaler, yeah, absolutely. Inhaler, nebulizer, inhaler, absolutely. Now, I said I was in Sweden, right? So Sweden is 9 months of cold and 3 months of nice weather. So this is me and my friend from Manila. We used to stay like a block away, and Sweden is very good in transportation. And we used to take the tram and get one stop before his apartment. So his apartment comes first, then one block in my apartment comes next, so that we can chat around and talk more. You can understand that I'm a little chatty fella. So when we got down and we were talking, and I realized that 30 seconds हो गया, 40 seconds हो गया, इसने कुछ बोला ही नहीं है. And I quickly turn because now we're walking, right? It's a nice breeze is going on, the leaves, and you can see small, these dandelions and flowers, and they're all going here and there. And I see him and he's like gasping. And I know that he is that asthma type of fella. So I said, "What happened? Take out your inhaler." And he's like, "Yes, yes, yes." And he removes his first zip and takes it out and pump. And I'm like, "Okay, okay, hoega." But pump again, I heard. And I'm like, "Kya hua?" Because I thought he's taking 2, 3 doses or what more. And he's like, "Amit, it's empty." My God, let's quickly walk fast. And I take his bag, and while walking fast towards, now remember, it's just one block, it's like hardly 100 meters or so. But when you are with an asthmatic patient, 100 meters is like a long time, long duration, okay? And we are walking fast, and I said, "Where are the keys?" And he said, "First zip, first zip." And I take the keys, we quickly go up, and now he's like breathing a little more, okay, and heavily, okay, and I'm also getting concerned. uh, and I open it up, and he says that I'll look into the chest. So there's a chest of drawers, so 1, 2, 3, 4 drawers, and he opens one up, and I quickly go to the inside the kitchen to fetch a glass of water, and I'm trying to get the glass, wash it, clean it, and fill it up. Meanwhile, I hear a lot of noise, da, 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 da. And I understand that usko inhaler mil nahi raha. So he's done with one chest, he's on second chest. I come out, I'm like, "John, sit down, let me search. You sit down, have this water." And I go and search it. First chest, and there at the corner, one of the corners of the first chest, there's a mug, and I put, remove the mug, and I see an inhaler there. And I give him, he pumps it, and 2 minutes later, we both laugh. We both laugh because of how last 7, 8 minutes have been for us. What we went through? We went through a struggle. Every project that you do, every presentation that you do has to have some sort of a struggle. Without a struggle, your presentations have no meaning. If there's a strategy change in your organization, why is it happening? Not because the CEO went on a golf one day and he loved it. No, because there is some struggle, right? You need to understand what's going on before you present anything directly. Then you present the solution. With the struggle, you're going to share the pain, what the organization is going through. You need to share the pain of the team members. You need to share what is happening, either to the customer, to whoever. Then you provide the solution. When you provide the solution, it has to be related to the struggle, and then you explain the solution. And then you share that why this solution works well and the success, right? It has to be in the 3S format. What we learned that day? We learned that decluttering of a drawer is one of the most important thing, especially when you're an asthmatic patient, isn't it? No one will think that decluttering of a desk is very important, right? So you need to understand this 3S structure, right? So next, now this is the question. Do you feel by now, whatever you learned, heard, do you feel that storytelling or knowing storytelling will help you in your role, in your position, in your situation, wherever you are? Come on, give me yes, no, or not sure. Fantastic, fantastic. Likely, yeah, absolutely. Nice, nice. So most of the N and not sures are now converted to yes, because now you at least understand the basic things. You always knew that storytelling is important. You know that it is good. Oh, I need to speak up and say something in the front of the world, and I need to do it in a nice manner. But you didn't knew the steps in a right. The steps are very simple. You need to make sure that you understand the emotions a bit well. You need to know how the dopamine levels go up and down, right? At least understand that with my story of the iPhone, understand what is a cliffhanger moment so that you can add it in your presentations as well. You now know that how you're going to structure your story. You need to know that the 3S structure, right? And now you also know how to create a story bank with your own stories or heard stories. Okay. Whenever you tell somebody else's story, narrate it in your own way, please make sure that the credit is given to that person, because understand this, and I'll just take some name here now. If I listen to Ketan sir's some story and I'm very mesmerized with it, and I, as a listener at that conference, I can of course say it the way I heard it, my interpretation. But if I'm repeating the same story as Ketan sir said, then I will of course mention that this is not my story. When you narrate someone's story as it is, you credit them. When you narrate the way you interpretate it, still make sure that tell them that this is what I heard, this is what I observed, this is my opinion about it. It didn't happen to me, but this is what I feel. Okay, remember that. Now, Freytag's pyramid. This is another one. There are many structures. Believe me. Freytag pyramids or narrative arc, there's a lot of writing. Let's just come to the place. Exposition, introduction, rising action, climax, falling action, and a movie. It's mostly used in movies, and they can end in catastrophe, resolution, revelation, or denouement. That is, a different ending. But all it means is that it's end basically. Like Titanic didn't had a nice end. The fellow died in a way, right? Hindi movies may mostly no one dies. Okay, so it's always success or resolution. So let's take two examples. I'm gonna take example of Chak De India. You all would know about Chak De India. So exposition, Kabir Khan. Now remember Kabir Khan, the first scene where Kabir Khan misses the goal and he gets up holding hands from a Pakistan player, hugs him as a team player. Oh man, his world changes from there, right? People throw stones at him. He has to vacate his apartment. There's all black painted his apartment, right? So that's the exposition. Rising action. Now he becomes a coach, women's coach, and apart from the coaching techniques, now he needs to also train the girls to collaborate and get, and of course win his pride back with the cup. Climax. Now it's at the final round. Now, of course, we know. Again, I'm not a hatred of a Hindi movie, but most of the time it's not placed in a right way. But we know the climax now. The climax, and this is with every movie, all right. But you are at the end now. Imagine you're in the theater. Oh my God, you're pumped up. Your dopamine levels are all high. Your oxytocin is all with Kabir Khan and with the girls now, right? And it's the final match. You know that they're gonna win. Period. But the hook that the producer, the director has put into your system is amazing. Is amazing. Now what happens? Falling action. You know that young Chotala, she has her own beliefs, being a little kid, and not at the front side, always at the back end playing. She wants to take that shot. She's the one who is like, all right, I need to do this. But and that is where everyone's the frame freezes as well. The slow motion comes into the picture, right? And she gives it to the Preeti Sabharwal, and Preeti Sabharwal puts a goal, and the whole theater is like bouncing and dancing on top of it. Resolution. Now, this is a very fantastic thing. The resolution didn't ended the oh my god trophies and this and that. No, the resolution ended where a little boy comes and removes the black paint from the walls of Kabir Khan's old house. That is where the movie ended. And remember one thing, guys, every story needs to have a message. If your story lacks message, it has no meaning towards it. The message, teamwork is the key to success. Okay? Maza aaya? Had fun? Yes, no? Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm going to turn on the video because I love this. Okay. I love that when you get to see my face as well, because I'm super excited sitting here. Okay. And I'm going to turn on my video once again. All right. Now, you know this. Let's do for Tare Zameen Par, right? Let's do that. Do you think dyslexia came after Tare Zameen Par? No. No. It was there long back. But क्या होता था पहले when a person they didn't knew dyslexia in that well manner, and then whenever the child has some problem, oh ये mentally retarded है. That is what how we used to treat it, right? So let's see Tare Zameen Par how it went through the Freytag's pyramid. Okay, ईशान अवस्थी, you know ईशान जब भी बैठेगा माइंड में उसके all the rockets आ जाते थे और doom doom 8 plus 2, okay 8 plus 2 is 11, all right, put it, doesn't care, very notorious fellow. I sometimes think myself as Ishan Avasti, so I relate with this guy a lot. That is where my bonding started. And not that I used to have fights in school and all, but this is how he was, right? Picking up fights everywhere. What was the rising action? Do you remember that day when Ishan was driving, उसकी mother उसको school में boarding में छोड़ के जा रही है, and there's this माँ का song that plays. Do you think that they place these songs and these pictures and emotions just by chance? No, they place it the right way to trigger your emotions and keep you grounded in the theater for that 2 hours. Gets into anxiety, depression. The guy doesn't know how to tie his shoelace, doesn't know how to wear his clothes, doesn't know anything. And the mother on one side is upset. What happens? Shankar Nikum, Mr. Amir Khan, comes in, right? And he understands Ishan's condition and he terms it as dyslexia, right? And he also learns that the little child is suppressing his creative ideas because his parents are forcing him to get analytically good and doesn't care about his creativity at that point. Okay. So the belief systems are terrible for this child, and the behavior acts accordingly as well. Of course, with dyslexia, Nikum goes to his parents in Mumbai, explain, you know how the father is all shouting, yelling, you think my son is this. Nikum's come back, talks to the principal, says that give me a chance, I will take him into my way. And one day, the father steps down from the stairs and he sees his son. The son is reading from the blackboard. And he's reading for the first time the words one after another. And the way they have portrayed is that the father doesn't goes and hugs Nisha, Mr. Nikumb or anything. He just cries and he leaves away, feeling guilty. Right? And what happens? Ishan gets the best prize for his creativity. His picture is now in the yearbook. A boy who is worthless in many sense, that is what everyone thought. His picture is in a very prestigious school, a boarding school, and his picture is there front forever. Forever, right? You can't take that away. And they don't end it in a very proper, just like, oh, Ishan ko ye mil gaya, ho gaya. The end is very substantial as well, right? The end is that they are getting into the car and Ishan looks back. Now, Mr. Nikum doesn't call him. He looks back and there's a slow motion and Mr. Nikum lifts him up and it's end. And to make it more powerful, of all the children who are facing dyslexia, so that you still be grounded watching the names and all the producer name, this name, that name, all that comes later. You know what impact has happened, right? There are many schools which have got centers now. There are many teachers who do this. They're so open now, right? What is the message? Every child is special, isn't it? That's the message. And it's very well put up there, right? All right. Now, probably the last part. I had to skip 4 slides of mind mapping, and I apologize for that. But if time permits, I'll try to cover that. So using it, it's very simple. These are all the words that you'll see here, and I apologize. But yeah, you need to open your story bank and read your stories. See, from time and time onwards, you need to make sure that your story bank, whatever you write in it, you see it, and it has to relate you back in time to have a story, right? So you do that exercise at least once in 2 weeks. Okay. Talk in front of mirror. Now, when you are telling a story, listening to yourself, okay, do you talk in front of mirror? But when you are preparing for public speaking, never ever talk in front of mirror. That's very bad, because mirror, like Bruce Lee used to say, that boards are not gonna kick you back, right? Similarly, mirror is not gonna give you anything. Okay, the way you do that, I do that, is you take your camera and the back side of the camera. So don't keep. You have to put your back side of the camera and record it. You only see the camera screen. That's it. Record it and then see it, because your consciousness will be dead when you just look at the camera ka chota sa eye, and your data, your quality of the speech will be more better. Okay. But when you keep looking at yourself, your consciousness will keep hurting you in a way, or keep coming in between. Best thing I suggest people is to do, to talk to your spouse, friends, see their hormone level. Now, let's say your wife is in the kitchen and you go to her, or your husband is in the kitchen, or your friend or whoever, and you go to them and don't say, let me start with a story. मैं तेरे को एक story बताता हूँ, सुना मजा आएगा. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Start off with something. And how to start off with a story? Story starts off in many ways. If you hear a time, a date, it's a story. You can start off with, imagine this. I met that day that fellow. That's the start of a story. Or you know what happened that day with me? That's the start of a story. This is how you start stories. You don't start a story saying that let me tell you a story. वो तभी होता है जब हम लोग अपने बच्चों को रात को सुलाना होता है, और जब हम लोग को शेर और चीता की कहानी सुनानी थी, right? But not now. Okay. Because you have to tell them कि भाई मैं तुमको story बोलने वाला हूँ, so leave your toys and come with me. Now you don't have to tell adults, they'll leave you and go away. Seek help from your friends and ask for feedback. Or do so tell them that, hey, how was it? And you can do this with some of your close friends, right? You don't have to tell them that you're telling a story, but after saying this, you can very well understand a lot when you see people. That is why I love storytelling with viewing people, because I can see you whether you're bored or you're excited or I've hooked you up, right? Then situation, and the later lines will actually, yes. Observe with your eyes and mind open. Do not judge. And when I see on the road now, and I know that I'm not going to jump into that, right? But I see how things are around me. When I see some one dragging something, or someone arguing with the buyer, vegetable 10 rupiya kam karo, ye karo, wo karo. There are many things happening around all the time, right? But it's not necessary, and you don't jump into every situation that doesn't demand your attention, right? But if you observe them carefully, because your mind will start chattering. अरे इसने ना ये गाड़ी ठोक दिया होगा, अरे इसने ना ये कर दिया होगा, इसके लिए ऐसा है, ये इसके लिए हो रहा है. Stop that mind chattering for a moment, okay, and just listen. Listening is very, very important. I'm not talking about hearing. Listen to them, that what are they saying, and you will observe that you'll have some story related to that, connecting to that. See, because we need stories of motivation. We need stories where we can pump in our team members and, make them to do certain things. We want them to go that extra mile. We want the team to buy in. How do you do that? How do you tell stories of honesty, courage, and diversity and all that? You want to get it somewhere, right? Not every story is going to happen with you or with me, right? So you need to learn how to say this. Do not conclude that topic here. Like I said, it's not story worthy. Don't do that. Okay. Now, this is a small exercise. You don't do it here, but you do it on your own. Pick up a book or a movie, probably which your friend, wife, mother, father, whoever is, haven't heard it or read it, and try it on. Okay. Try it on. You can pick up any motivational book. And like I always say, 100 stories in it, because they need to give examples. Pick some story and see how people react. Okay. Don't start with stories like Enron and, big giant companies if your another person is not related or not interested. Okay. Pick some relevant stories out as well. You, you need to practice. Period. There is no other way. No other way other than practicing. All right. Now, before I hand it over, Ketan sir, can I make the announcement to the group? Is it okay now?
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So it's a very nice bear. Storytelling is very important, guys. Okay. By far, any movement that has happened in the planet is not done by data alone. Okay. Remember that. It's not done by data. It is done by how you articulate your why. Okay. It is the why that keeps you grounded. Do you think that Martin Luther King was the first person to get that black movement in? No. It was that lady who was kicked out of the bus. I forgot her name, in Ohio, right? So it's not the first person, it's not every time, but they had a strong why. You need to have a strong why of why are you presenting this to your team? Why? Is it because the senior management has told them? Go back to them and understand their why. Now, many times people say that, Are Amit, kisi ko pata hi nahi rehta. Then I don't know. Okay, I have no answer to that. But at least know your why. It shouldn't be that the senior management has told it. At least if you understand, if you can't understand things, how are you going to explain others what it means? Right? Understand that why. Understand why you're doing it. When you understand that, you're going to articulate your words. You're going to pick up your words very carefully. You're going to pick up the stories very, very carefully. Data just helps to bond it better. Okay. Now, my vision, of course, I'm a project manager, like I said, but that's my profession. But my vision is a place where people can communicate and collaborate. You know what is the most sad thing that I see most of the time? I see brilliant people, brilliant. Oh my God. Dimag mein they're killing. But they don't know how to share their ideas. And I help them. What I do is, if I find a person in my team and he comes up or she comes up with an idea, I make it a point that that person rises in a way that his or her idea is put it through. And it's as simple as that. The moment that person goes, gets appreciations and gets all the accolades, I get satisfied. Of course, I also get many things tagged to it. But I have seen that people just cannot communicate. I have seen that people just don't collaborate. Because I work with data scientists as well. I work on AWS projects, and I realize that sometimes it is a challenge to get a data scientist to work with this fellow and that fellow and that fellow. And that's where I come in. And I do that. And of course, storytelling is one way. Mission one, I want to impact 1,000,000 lives by sharing stories of people. So you see this banner, Stories That Impact? That's my show. I have finished 31 episodes so far. I call people like you and I ask them to share a story on my platform. What was the struggle? How did you come out of it? And, if that helps you, anyone who listens to it, my mission is completed. Because I realized that मैं भगवान को नहीं बोल सकता हूँ गॉड मुझे आप कैंसर दो फिर मैं कैंसर से बाहर आता स्टोरी सुनाता हूँ मेरे स्ट्रगल का. I don't want to do that. I don't want to break my leg, cut my leg, and then come out, run a marathon and show that. No. But I know that there are people in this world and they don't have to either do that. Any struggle is a struggle and that can help anybody. Because I've learned that there are always people who are looking up to me and there are always people who I'm looking up to. So if there are people who are looking up to me, I need to give back, right? And I choose to give back in this way. And mission two is of course using storytelling techniques where it's actually my own way where I also go through more ways of storytelling and how you want to learn it, right? Now, these are some of the certifications that I did during COVID times. And like I said, I read a lot. Apart from this, I did many courses and few of the certifications that I got in storytelling so that I know what I'm talking about. I know a little more. And that's what gives me the confidence. And these are many videos that I have on social media. You please feel free to connect with me, connect with my vision, help me to reach those million people, and connect with me. That's my YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and all that. I'll put it on chat here. Where is the chat? Oh, where is the chat gone? There you go. So I'm pasting it here. Connect with me. I love people. Okay. I love people. I love interacting with people. All right. So connect with me. Okay. And lastly, because you all joined, this is a small thank you. I wrote a small ebook. I'll call it as a booklet. It is very small. You can finish like in an hour or two. Please download it on this site. Okay. I will also write it here. Ketanji, I am done. Let's start off with the next thing.
Thanks, Mr. Amit Khanna, for that wonderful session. So now we'll just keep a limited session for question answer if people have for 5 minutes, which will be followed by a vote of thanks. And for that, I would invite Mr. Chintan Oza, our Vice President, for doing that honors. And followed by that, I'll invite Shri Bharat Bhagat ji, our President, to give you a certificate of appreciation on behalf of PMI Mumbai chapter. Okay, so if people have any questions, they can put it in chat. We'll just take few questions for next 5 minutes.
So while you guys think of putting it on chat now, did you guys enjoyed the session? What stuck your mind to start storytelling? Thanks, Sugan. So Sugan, what happened is, मैं जब भी बात करता था ना लोगों से, and I used to talk a lot with my colleagues and friends, and every time I have something to share. Like for example, the time I sat in the train going to Bombay to Calcutta for 44 hours, and the 39 hours I spent in front of the toilet reading, and I was going for my second level education. And they say, यार तेरे पास तो हर चीज के लिए स्टोरी है. You should write a book. And I used to hear this over last decade से मैं सुन रहा हूँ. But then I realized that, I should get into storytelling a little more. I need to learn the art and science of storytelling so that at least next time जब मैं story बोलूँ किसी को, I articulate it such a way that it creates an impact. I use it on my projects as well, but I use it in a very casual manner. Now with this learning and training of my own, I probably try to create a little more impact. I hope that answers. Milind answer. Thank you, Vikrant. Kit Kat is due.
Okay, I think there is one question by Miss Nilima Prabhu. Is this related to the user stories in Agile?
Hmm. Well, user stories, that's a very nice question. And I can, of course, accept that from PMI group. The user stories in Agile are still very, very narrowed down to a particular what the requirement. They are structured in that way. The storytelling is a little vast area. It's actually falls under the umbrella of public speaking. Okay. So if you see the master storytellers, like I've been through, actually, my mentor gave me an assignment of going through 100 TEDx. Okay. Uh, so if you go through, so user stories is just for a requirement. All right. Now imagine if you have to convey the message, like in a technical field like engineering, for example. Now imagine, Vikrant, if you have to convey a message or strategy or something that your engineering machines or something you need to do, sell it, buy it. Okay. You can actually, how do you put it across? Most of the time we put it across that ये machine है, ये काम करता है, इसमें इतने सारे volts है. We always talk about the how and the what. We never talk about the why because we always assume that oh खरीदना तो है ही, right? So that's what the whole thought process is. If you tie a bit of value of the agile world into your story, into your work for all the aspects, you will understand that your whys are clear. And to make your wise presentable, stories help. Okay. Because otherwise it becomes a little boring because not everyone every time is on the same page. Let's say if you are going to make a WebEx 7.8 to 8.0, okay, so you just say that, oh, we are now going to upgrade WebEx 7.8 to this, and these were the problems. ये अभी आगे नहीं होएगा. Yeah, we know that. If I Google it, it will tell me the difference between, let's say, WebEx 7 and 8, or let's say PMBOK version 6 and 7. But why? Why are you doing it? Because there's a need, because now customer needs a little more information from PMI, and that is why we are adding this section to it. It is going to help now not only this, the construction industry. It is now going to cater to the agile way in this way because they had this problem, right? Because of the problem, a solution occurs. If you're just making solution, if you just keep making products without taking care of the problem, that product is going to die eventually. So that helps. Educational institutes, oh, that's going to help a lot because in educational institutes, storytelling will help them why you have to do this course you have to do. How do we approach? Amit, अगर तूने बी इंजीनियरिंग किया तो तेरे को जॉब मिलेगा. That's not how things work. I have seen many entrepreneurs now who are not graduates and doing very well. If you want to, the why has to be very strong. See, storytelling is a medium. Okay, you can use any other medium, but storytelling works better because it connects you better. Presentations don't connect you better. That is why many TEDx talks don't have presentations, but you get connected, right? So think in this way. If you, I would also insist you guys to please go and watch some TEDx. Go and watch Simon Sinek Why again, if possible. If you're done it, not done it, you should. And watch some of the Toastmaster sessions. Okay, and you will understand how powerful. It's all about a story that they have to narrate in 16 minutes. The way they pause, break, that's an art of public speaking. But what they talk in the essence, in the core, is the story. And that story has a meaning at the end. Okay. So we need to figure out how your boring presentations can be interactive. When you have a graph, let's say you have a graph which shows 2019 and 2020 mein बढ़ गया है, so you have to put a pause there. You have to showcase why it happened, then click the next button, and then the graph should go up. Use the feature of the PowerPoint which shows the graph going up in a scale, not just boom, that बढ़ गया है वो. Okay, so you need to learn these techniques, and like I said, first have a habit of viewing everything in form of a story, viewing in a form of a struggle, solution, success. That's all. S ये स्टार्ट करो बस. जो भी आप सुनोगे इसमें स्ट्रगल क्या था. ओके, नाउ आई कैन रिलेट. Then move on. Then move on to emotions. Then you move on to how you're going to create your banks. But first, going forward, ad open kiya. See, there is any struggle? Nah, bekar, boring ad. Let's move on. What is the struggle? What is the solution? What is the success? I hope I tried to answer. Maybe not up to the mark, but it's still. Any further questions? Nilima, I hope I tried to answer your question. User stories are quite different. Personas are like personas were already there, right? Why we got user stories in between? Because they just cater a bit here and there, But storytelling, this whole thing that I said, you can use user story as one part of it. But if you have to explain your entire strategy, testing strategy, or QA strategy, well, that time you might need little more than just the user story to convey your message. Understand that there needs to be a why. और वो हमारे यहाँ पे जनरली आंसर ऐसे होता है कि ऐसे ही होता है ऐसे ही करना है बिकॉज हमको ऐसे सिखाया था. Anyway, any further questions?
I don't see any further questions as such.
Thanks, Raj.
Thanks, Amit. I'll hand over now to Mr. Chintan Oza for vote of thanks. And meanwhile, he's doing that. I'll take over this. I'll become a presenter so that I can present this certificate which we are going to give you. So over to you, Mr. Chintan.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible clearly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks, Amit. As the meaning of your name says, it is infinite. Indeed, your energy is infectious. Your infinite energy is infectious. Your infinite enthusiasm is infectious. Thank you so much for delivering the talk on storytellers. All of us have got a story, and we have the story. I mean, we have been telling stories even since childhood, right? I mean, in front of our parents, in front of our siblings, in front of our friends. Then the audience changes, and then when we graduate, in front of our colleagues, in front of our boss, we know what to pitch to whom to get things done, right? That's human psychology. But then again, when you mix this specific psychology with toppings of foundational knowledge of storytelling, it makes a project manager more efficient and effective in communication. So thank you so much for delivering this excellent session. Thanks. And definitely this is going to be a collector's edition for our YouTube channel, where many project managers can watch it again and again and refresh their skills and get inspired that why project managers must learn the nuances of storytelling. So thank you so much for triggering this interest. And I must say that you are not only enthusiast, but you are a practitioner. So you don't preach, but you also practice. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
These kind words from you have just made my day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chintan Bhai. And first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Chintan Bhai for pointing out such a good speaker. I was searching for a good speaker, and he said that, hey, Mr. Amit Khanna is there. I'll ask him, and he just connected with you, and we could have this session. I was not sure of this topic and how it will gel with us and how it will be received by our participants or members. But I have enjoyed this session, and I think it has been wonderful start to this 2021 first PM forum, which is started with a very good session. So I'm very happy about it. Now I'll invite Mr. Bharat Bhagat, our president, to present our certificate, our appreciation certificate to you. I'm just sharing my screen. I hope everyone is able to see that. Bharat bhai, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Ketan bhai. Thank you, Chindan Bhai, for vote of thanks. Don't have to add anything to the words that you have already given him. So much of mistake that I don't want to add another storytelling now, because for Amit is a not new name for me. He has been known to me since last, I think, 6 to 7 years. He was a good faculty member also with us, and he was a good volunteer also with us. And unfortunately, he has been to Sweden and some other country also too. So where he could physically be there, but now logically he is with us here, and I am really thankful to Amit and all of you. Please, Amit, please accept our appreciation certificate on behalf of not just me only, but on behalf of Project Mumbai chapter of the Project Mumbai Institute, and see that you continue to give us, and not only to us, with all other audience in future. Please be present there whenever you are invited. I'll be happy to listen it again and again, because listening is important rather than just reading and hearing. And listening along with your physical viewing makes a much bigger impact rather than just audio. But I think your video was also functioning nicely with all audio also. I don't know, some people might have have some issues with their local bandwidth, and not only that, they might have kept their audible level at their local instrument at low level. Maybe, probably there's an issue. Otherwise, you were totally audible and visible also very clearly to me at least. Thank you very much. And thank you very much. And when are you coming to Bombay now? Are you in
Sir,
Mumbai?
sir, I'm in Mumbai now, about to travel to Australia soon, hopefully
Oh
in
man,
few months.
we could have met, yeah. All this music.
Sure, sure, sir. I'll definitely try. But let me just take 1 minute to thank PMI, because I have a very special bond with all of you guys. And
Yes.
I always love, even जब मैं स्वीडन से 15 दिन के लिए इंडिया आया था तो भी मैं I made sure that I give some session, because I just love this whole environment. And special thanks to Chintan ji for recognizing me as a speaker and such a kind words. And Bharat sir, with you, yes, we I share a very special bond with you, and thank you very much for everything, sir. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
See you again.
Thank you everyone. And some few announcements. First of all, before we end the session, I would like to thank people, those who have given support for posting this or making this possible. Mr. Girish Jogi, who has made this presentation which I was running, and also the certificate which we have displayed. So he is a very important person in coordinating things for me, and he has been doing most of the stuff. I have done just work today itself, but in the background all these days, coordinating with Mr. Amit Khanna as well as with our IT team, he has been doing. So thanks Girish ji, as well as thanks to Swati ji, and also Sunil. Sunil is not here, but I would like to thank him also for coordinating and helping us and providing the support. Yes,
Yeah.
Bharat bhai, you want to say something?
Yeah, let me tell everybody. First thing, this being a first PM forum, let me wish you on behalf of Mumbai chapter a very happy New Year, and we are going to have continuously new knowledge sharing sessions. At this stage, let me thank at least 45 people who I have trained out, who are regular every PM forum. Like say Mr. Rafael, then the Swali, Sailiji, then Nehaji, and there are I mean Mr. Baule. I can't remember. I can. The names are there in their faces are in front of me, but I cannot expect. There are 45 people who have been regularly, punctually attending our PM forum, and I feel we are proud of that. We are providing value to their time in those PM forums also. So I should really thank you for this. Since April, we started this online, and for almost more than 36 to 40 sessions we have conducted. I am telling not only PM forum, including PM exchange program also. Unfortunately or fortunately, whatever say, we are lucky. Our Priya Patra also is a regular PM forum, but today she has a station with Gujarat chapter, so she has been there. So she is not present there. Otherwise, she is also a regular participant in our PM forum. along with all our board members. I wish not say Mr. Rafael David also a regular board member here. Mr. Jacob Bhai is also a regular presenter. I mean, participation in this PM forum. I should thank you, all of you. I remember only few names who have, otherwise I can go through the list and then speak, but I don't want to do that. Take more time. So thank you very much, and see that I'm sure that we will continue this PM forum session. Likewise, even though we can maybe starting from April, say physical meeting, but at least one meeting will be a webinar that we will. I'm sure we will continue like this also once in a month. Apart from two physical meeting also, that chapter action program also will continue as Priya has already planned up to July and August. So please be sure that it does add to your value, it does add to your PDU earning also, and does add to your tactical sessions also. So thank you very much, all the audience, and thank you very much, Ketan Bhai and Chintan Bhai, keeping me, listening me, hearing me, and for another 4 5 minutes to us. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ketan ji, sir, sorry,
Yes,
just
yes.
yeah, because I want to make sure that I thank all the attendees for being so interactive all the while. I have got such a lovely chat now, and which is really going to help me further as well. And thank you, Ketan sir, to you and to Girish for constantly being in touch, especially for last 3-4 days, and to arrange all this. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Amit ji. Amit ji, one question. I think Bharat Bhai missed that, but I'll ask that question, which is favorite of Mr. Bharat Bhai. In the PDU, we are going to provide 2 PDUs. So in which section this will go? See, we have 3 sections: technical, leadership, and strategy.
Right. I believe this will go under
Should go in
leadership development.
Leadership. Okay. Yes.
Am I right, Mr. Amit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
This communication, which gives a signal for storytelling, is a characteristics of a leader, and communication is a characteristic of a leader. So I will believe this should go under 2 PDUs for leadership category. Please confirm, Amit Bhai.
Yes, sir. You're correct, sir.
Because this is not a pure technical subject, and this is not a pure business strategy subject as well.
Correct. Thanks, Bharat Bhai, for the confirmation, and Mr. Amit. Okay, along with this, there are 2 more announcements. One is, as usual, we'll be sending out a mailer for PDU claiming, which will also have a link for sending your feedback. So please provide your feedback through that link. And secondly, next PM forum session we are planning on 31st January. So please keep yourself free for attending that 31st Jan session of PM forum. So we are in touch with speaker for finalizing that. Within 3-4 days, we'll send out a mailer and final details. But I'm just announcing the date so that people can block their calendars. 31st January, which is a Sunday, last Sunday. So after gap of 1 week, we'll have another session. So thanks.
One more announcement, an important announcement I wanted to make.
Sure,
election voting process is already in progress. 19th January is the last date, and probably yesterday a reminder mail, all those who have not voted is already sent out. Please check your mailbox and see that you get and check your mailbox along with the sound box and junk box as well. And if you have unsubscribed it, please subscribe it and see that you receive your link for voting along with the password, and see that by 19th you please do voting if you have whoever has not voted of your choice of candidate. Please, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bharat Bhai, for that announcement. And with this, we are ending the session for today. I'll ask Swati to stop recording and also save the chat sessions.
Yeah, I will stop recording and saving the chat session.
Thank you, Swati. Thank you for your support.
Welcome.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful
stop
rest
recording
of the day.
now. You can stop recording now.
Yes.